How to sketch surrealistically, like Roberto Matta automation. It's a Paranoiac Critical Method kind of work. So make large marks, and then add some perspective in there, like echoing marks, you know. Try to break the horizon. And then the large marks, they can't overlap. Like, you can't have the marks overlap. But the detailed marks are like far forms. They can overlap. Like the more, the smaller the forms, the more overlapping. And then, let's see, you gotta remember to break the horizon. The work, it really, it pulls upon, your visual memory a lot and your surroundings. So like your forms and what you think of as good will end up being built into your work and your ideas and thoughts and things. So I always try to like throw like a large focus off the page. You know, like I like a large focus to be off the page. There's no rules with like how you make the focus or anything. Main thing is like large marks can't overlap, and then you want to add perspective, and then the smaller marks can overlap, and that's it, really. You know, add detail into it to make nice forms. You know, I found that like if the Freudian like process, you know, like if it's getting like too profane in your mark making, the more right angled the forms are, the less you'll have to deal with it, like, you know, fighting the man level or fighting the woman level. You know, most of the time people only worry about fighting the man level. You know, you don't want like men level like showing up in all your work, you know. So right angle everything, you know, really kind of solves that. You can spin the page around too. That helps, gives you a new perspective on things. Another thing that works is to get really good at this. See, it's already turning out pretty good, you know. Your mind will start being able to see it better the more you sketch on it, and the more time you put in, the better you get at it. Yeah. So, and one thing is you don't lose the skill. It's something that kind of sticks with you. I think so anyway. For me, it always sticks with me. And I just like progressively get better at it. Or it stays like the same, you know. It's like real quick at first, you know, and then kind of like pans out, and then you get major advances and stuff. But you know, this is just like a technical skill, you know, like a craft, and it's just like flowering, you know, your ideas and things, like something nice to add to your work. It also can be used for alternative sensory perception of things, like if you got an idea in your mind, you can use it to you know, explore that. So like, say you have an idea of like a form in your mind, if you start sketching in this manner, like the idea will be portrayed, but it will be like a mutation of it, but it will be there. So it might take a while looking at it. Anyway, you can also fold the page, and I like to fold it in half like this, like several, make that like papal cross in there. So you fold it in half, you know, fold in half again. The sketches go pretty fast, you know, like you can spend like several hours on them, you know, make them really good, but at first, you know, you want to spend like a few hours or so, but then you get real quick at it, and you can make really effective ones in like 30 minutes. But they're not all going to be hits, you know. You're going to have some good ones and some bad ones, you know. And I also found that the more caffeine that you have, actually, like, the better they are, like more detail and stuff somehow. I don't know. Also, stay away from Advil. Advil will make it worse. So like you it's not as good if you have Advil. Like if you get injured or something and you got to take Advil, or you're sick or something. So just caffeine or nothing at all, you know, makes really good work. And then if you add Advil to it, or any beer or anything like that, like you'll be like, it's noticeably different, like in the quality level. So fold the page up is a good strategy too, you know. Create small works. This is the way to like really start and to get good at it. So like large marks, like I was saying, don't let the large marks overlap. And this is with ink. If you're using pencil, you can let the large marks overlap, and you can like erase. There's really no need to use pencil. You just use ink if you want. And then you add the perspective marks. And then you can add the details. And you'll notice that on your large mark making, you'll end up like getting in a rhythm where you start making some small detail marks. And then you add the small. You want to break the horizon. That's important. That's one thing that Roberto Matta would kind of do, but he wouldn't do it to the max, you know. And in the distance, you can add like little mountain forms, and clouds are really effective. If you add some clouds in there, like varying cloud forms, that really gives you a sense of depth. Something you can really latch onto, even if they're not clouds. If they're kind of like similar to clouds, it'll help you. So this is a very good thing to build. Yeah. So this would be like one panel, and then you switch to another one. You don't want to make all the panels filled up. Just fill up some of them. You don't even have to like look at the piece that you're drawing before, because they'll automatically connect. Like it's really interesting how like the sketches will like be very similar, and they almost always are able to be put together like a puzzle piece, you know. And if you keep track of like what's going on in your day and stuff like that, like interesting results happen from that. You know, being able to combine the ideas maybe and things, you know. I don't know, it's not far-fetched. You don't really got to keep track of anything. I don't know. So you see how like I'll do like large forms and then I'll go into perspective and then detail. You don't have to do all your large marks and then all your perspective and then all your details. You can do some large marks, some perspective, and then some details. You know, you can mix it around the order of events. But it's always a large mark, and then you flower the large mark with perspective marks and like depth marks, you know, like small to large to mimic the form often, or just like branch off from the form. And like I was saying, the right angles help keep from. So this would be like another form here. Another panel is built, and you see what I'm saying about the combination here, and then you just connect these. You know, just add some extra marks in there to connect the forms. Make them look. Another thing is you don't want the illusions to. You don't want the forms to make your mind work too much, because it becomes disturbing to your. Becomes like annoying to try to complete like those impossible connections. So like you don't want like a large form to go behind a smaller form and stuff. Like you don't want the background to really. I guess that's not really a rule. I just found that it's kind of like annoying to the eye. It's kind of like wallpaper that doesn't match, you know. I don't know. I guess that's okay. You know, it just depends on what you're doing. So I guess it's not a thing. There's no real rules, but this is just the strategy to be able to make work like this. But you see how like it's easily bound when you fold it up like this, and that helps out a lot. And so let's start on the other side here. And I'll make a couple more panels over here. See, large marks. And then you add the perspective in there. Create these like little like places. Spin the paper around a lot. You can leave it in one place, but you get better results if you spin it around a lot. Spin the paper or canvas or whatever you're doing. It doesn't have to be ink. Paint works too. See, notice how it's ink. It's a good idea to work with ink because it's easily translatable into like paint, you know. But like I was saying, like it's best to like create blueprints for the painting and like combine these sketches into works that you want to put on a canvas, because it's really easy to make them, but they're not like money every time. Like it's better to like collage the builds of them, like a map of it. But then that's more production work. But then to fill it in anyway is like production work. So you know. Anyway. So these little like mountain-esque kind of things in the background are nice. Okay, let's do another panel here. And you can also do it like that, but I find that I found when I was learning this stuff and developing it, it took a while to develop it, but to learn it, it's like real fast, you know. Like no one will teach you or tell you how to make this stuff. You got to figure it out on your own. People will tell you stuff like just scribble things, you know, like create like scribbles, and that's supposed to, you know, refine from that and trace the scribbles and things. That's not as effective as this. It's very difficult to get here. At first you'll just be working with the order of events, you know. You won't know what to do, you know. Don't really know how to approach it, and then you find, you know, after, you know, 10, 20, maybe 50 sketches, like, oh, I go large marks to some perspective in there to the detail. See, so you can combine it. And you can even see in this, like, there ends up being this, like, laziness, like, kind of a thing. Like, you're just so focused on what's going on over here in this other panel that you don't really want to build in this new panel. And it's a lot of fun just to build in the new panel. But you can't let your mind won't let you be able to see outside of this one panel, really. You know, you get better at it. But, like, you guys just starting out, you're not going to be able to get that right out the gate. It's best to just work on individual panels and then open it up. So there we go. We got like 2 going there. We got 2 over here, and they're pretty like they're pretty matched up, right? Like you, and then you want to like connect these, and then you can add the appropriate like kind of what do you call it? Oh, real good. Composition that you want. So, you know, like if you already have some forms that you think are large and really going off the page, maybe you don't want to add a lot of perspective in here, and this would just be like your cloud forms. You know, or if it's like way too detailed and you need to add larger forms, that's what you can do in these spaces. Or if you need some like really large focus or something, you can add that in there. And you can really dish them out, you know. This stuff, it's never used really. People don't really know how they're using it. They're always like fighting to get to that like comical level, and they don't know how to like build. It's kind of like just build it on your own, and then mutate the forms in your mind and like rotate them, and then work from there, you know, instead of I have this idea in my mind, it has to be exactly that, and then it just looks like garbage, you know. It's better to just work with this, and then you see the form, and then once it's on the paper, it's much easier to build it. Just like if you saw it in life, you can draw it like a lot easier. Another thing that's like that is like trying to remember a song, you know, like well, I get this song in my mind, I'm gonna try to sing it. You're not going to remember all the notes, right? Same thing with this. You get the forms out there, even though it might not be 100% on the dime, it's still it. And then you can build it how you want to build it. So we got the large marks here. Add the perspective. And then add another large mark. And the echoing of the forms is also really nice. And they don't have to be like directly behind each other. If you go sporadic, like around, they end up being quite nice. And you can go like below in there. The real small ones, and you can have several of the same size. So you're not going to find much for people telling you how to sketch like Roberto Matta. It's not an easy thing to learn how to do on your own. And I haven't seen anything about anybody, you know, showing people how to do it. I haven't really seen too many people be able to sketch like this. Like, people never know how to do this. And now you guys know. So, or whoever. So, yeah. So, like, we got a pretty good thing going here. So, let's go ahead and get the horizon going pretty good. And this is the strategy you want to make, you know, when you're starting out, by folding the paper. You get the light in there pretty good. Add the mountains in the background, maybe. Some mountainous forms. People really like seeing that. People are always like really good responses, like, oh, I really like the mountains, you know, even though they're not really mountains, they're just like forms of mountains. So and then you know, like a circle in there, you know, for like a sun is kind of nice, or a moon. And then you know, sometimes if you like darken in the area with like a light, like that's the background, you know, or like an exploding form, you know, that'll help. So that'll take a lot of time. You know, it's just a quick thing here. But if you add the nice form there. I'm kind of tired right now. It's time to pass out, but this one's not bad. And at the edges, you know, darken the edges. You guys know how to do this. This is basic level. And then in the forms here, really just leave it like it is. So, and then you don't have to have it all be the same scenery, you know, like, okay, so that's an exploding form there, like it's kind of like water thing going on, like you can just leave that, you know. Darken this in, it'll be fun. Sometimes in the distance it'll be too dark, so you want to add the darkness back into the where the explosion is. Also, there's like a little halo you'll see in Monk's work that's quite nice to add in there to add some more focus to the focus. You know, if you want to add, if you want it to be about that explosion, it's kind of nice. Add that stuff in there. I don't know, maybe I'll leave this little form in here. I don't know. Might be kind of nice. Let's see, do we need to cover that up or not? What do you think? It's not bad. Anyway, that's how you do that. You get a real nice sketching thing going there. Yeah, it's called like automation. The automation doesn't really, it's not really like that. It's like finesse automism, which I was always taught it's called the Paranoiac Critical Method, because you're drawing on forms from around you. You know, you don't have complete control, though you're in control. And Dolly would run off the face about it, but we all knew what he was doing, you know. And he would really push it to the limits too. So, yeah, but it's basically like you make these forms, which are obviously pulled from what's around you and in your visual memory, and then you turn them into, you know, real nice things that you're picturing in your mind. They won't be exactly it. So, but then Dolly, he'd go and get, you know, he'd collage in like the real forms and stuff into it. Matta didn't do that. Roberto Matta, he would like just leave this like it is and really push this. Dolly, I don't think could really do this too good. Like his work doesn't really do this. Like he really into pulling in like collage into it, you know. So that's not necessary. You don't need to do that. So Matta is like, you know, the best, you know, surrealistic painter, you know, but Dolly's the best surrealistic artist, you know. So he'd really experiment with things. Matta really pushed his painting and writing. So yeah, hopefully that was helpful.